Hi there, my name is Sheng Yao. This video is a brief introduction to our work, TILDE, Term-Independent Likelihood Model for Passage Re-ranking. This is joint work with my supervisor, Guido Zukang, and this work has been accepted at SIGIR 2021. So in this work, we introduce a novel deep language model-based neural ranking model. It is well known that recent transformer-based deep neural ranking models are very effective. They can leverage contextual word embeddings provided by language model encoders to compute the semantic matching score between a query and a document. However, one of the main limitations of these neural rankers is that they are very expensive to run at query time. This is because these deep language model encoders are in all effect very big neural network. Hence, GPUs are required in order to provide acceptable query latency. And even there, often this latency is not acceptable for common end users. There are two main types of language model-based rankers, cross-encoder and dual encoder. In the cross-encoder, the input of the model are query and document tokens. This means all query tokens can interact with all document tokens during inference. This usually helps to provide a better matching score. However, because we usually cannot know the user queries in advance, we need to pair the user queries all the documents and then compute matching scores on the fly at runtime. This is very expensive computation. On the other hand, in dual encoder, we have two separate encoders, one for getting query embeddings and one for getting document embeddings. The matching score is usually estimated by the similarity between the query and the document embeddings. Because these encoders are separate, the document embeddings can be pre-computed offline and stored in the index. At the query time, we only need to run a query encoder once to get query embeddings, which can then be used to find documents. In this way, we can gain a lot in terms of efficiency. But still, in the dual encoder architecture, there is one encoder inference, which is maybe not a big deal if you have a GPU. But in a CPU-only environment, such as in your mobile phone, this is still quite expensive and slow computation. This takes us to the motivation of our work. Can we completely regard the language model inference step at the query time? This would have the advantages of removing the computational step that is expensive in a CPU-only system. To address this, we propose TILDE. At a high level, TILDE can simply use a predefined tokenizer to encode queries into a sparse binary vector. Then it uses this sparse vector to perform the search. Because this tokenizer is simply a lookup table, it can be run very fast, even on a mobile phone. Following the query likelihood ranking framework, we assume that query tokens are independent, and we train our model with a query likelihood function. This is why we called our model term-independent likelihood model, or TILDE. Here is a small summary of our experimental result. We compare our model with a very efficient dual encoder method called EPIC and the classic cross-encoder method, BERT large re-ranker, with all methods be run on top of BM25. Except for the BERT large re-ranker, for which this would have been largely infeasible. All experiments here are conducted on a pure CPU environment. We find that the query latency of our model is significantly less than the other dual encoder method, especially for query inference time, and that our model can achieve almost the same effectiveness. If you're interested in our paper, please visit the website for this link for this work, which will contain preprint of this paper and the code and the result, and eventually the full presentation for SIGIR 2021. Thank you for listening.